things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. So during the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. But they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. So roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. And I have my doubts. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night.
Good evening. I figure we probably won't have that many here on the backup channel because as it is, when you get schwacked, you have no ability to tell anybody you got schwacked. So apparently they are, there's some Karen at YouTube that got miffed that I uploaded Steve Bannon's interview, and since Steve Bannon is banned from YouTube, I got schwacked. So anyway, just means we'll be here for the time being, 7 days, then we can return back to the old Bat channel. So anyway, figured I'd kind of just go ahead and run on into it. As far as the convoy is concerned, there are individuals that are showing up. Economic Ninja is actually pardon me, he's actually on location and gonna start off with them. So he'll be having content coming out, and I'm sure there'll be many other channels. Now, will I go up? If we have live streams and there's stuff, will I go up on this backup channel? Probably, depending on what's going on. They've got, I just find this awfully convenient timing, by the way, from YouTube. However, I figure 7 days in, I'll still have a chance to get plenty of live stream stuff on the regular channel as well. So I probably will, just so that I can archive some of the journey, and then I can always move those videos, that content over whenever I'm allowed back at the regular channel. So anyway, there wasn't a whole ton of trucks there when I saw earlier, but more and more people were arriving, both in trucks and in cars and whatnot, RVs, and it does look like they're going to have a fairly decent show to start out the convoy there in I can't remember now. I'll get it wrong. I can't remember the name of the place, but anyway, it looks like they'll have a decent start. The bigger story today has been the situation ongoing with Russia. Let me have a sip of coffee. Turned into a few sips. All right. So the bigger story has been Russia and what's going on with them. So I do have tabs on that. That's the only subject I've got tabs up on. But I do have tabs up on that, and I figured I'd run through those and then the regular headlines and make it an easy night since I'm over here and probably only broadcasting to a couple of people at most. So anyway, you guys might want to see, or you guy, or if there's anybody there, who knows. I showed 2. No, now I show 3, and I see a like. Ooh, thank you. Hey, we do have warm souls in the in the chat. Cool. All right. So I'm just doing these in the order that they posted on RT. So if something's just out of sync, just because of the way it posted, I apologize. There's a number 1 up there. Hang on, let me get that out and make sure. Hang on, let me see. Okay. That's just a recap. I don't need to post it. Okay. Russian parliament ratifies Donbass agreements. It says here Russian lawmakers have voted in favor of ratifying agreements underpinning political cooperation and military support for the 2 breakaway Donbass republics of Donetsk and Lugansk after President Vladimir Putin signed a proclamation recognizing their independence. In a session held on Tuesday, the Duma, the lower house of the Russia's parliament, unanimously backed the deals with 400 MPs voting in favor, earlier that the same day, the parliaments of the two regions simultaneously ratified the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation with the Russian Federation. The day before, Putin held a televised national address in which he said, "I deem it necessary to make a decision that should have been made a long time ago and to immediately recognize both as sovereign states." The move, he said, was in response to years of fighting in Ukraine's war-torn east and Kiev's attempts to drag foreign states into conflict with our country with its efforts to join NATO. So anyway, moving on throughout the timeline here. Russia will defend Donetsk and Lugansk, says Moscow. And this here says Moscow will act as a guarantor of the security and integrity of the two breakaway Donbass republics in Donetsk and Lugansk, Russia's top diplomat has said, after the Kremlin affirmed their status as sovereign states amid a worsening standoff with Ukraine. Speaking as part of an appearance on TV channel Russia 24 on Tuesday, Sergei Lavrov stressed that the two regions will be independent, with that status enshrined in pacts inked by President Vladimir Putin and the leaders of the two republics, Denis Pushkin and Leonid Pashnik, the day before. And I'm sure I said those names wrong. Treaties of friendship, cooperation, and mutual assistance have been signed between Russia and these new states, in which we promise to safeguard their security, the foreign minister said. I think everyone understands that, he added. Hang on. Fun times. Russian parliament grants Putin right to deploy military abroad, which I thought was a pretty big move. The upper house of Russia's parliament has granted permission for the country's military to be deployed abroad, following a request on Tuesday from President Vladimir Putin. The authorization grants Putin the right to use Russian forces abroad in accordance with the principles and norms of international law. The Senate's resolution, released to the media, shows the document does not impose any specific limits on the use of the military, with the number of troops as well as the areas of their activity, their goals, and length of stay outside Russia to be decided by the President in accordance with the Constitution. And then the rest of the information you already know. West warned against sanctioning Russian energy sector, and you already know that's exactly what they're going to go after. This here says if Western sanctions lead to Russia's oil exports being completely cut off, the world can expect the international energy market to collapse, a senior figure at the American rating agency Fitch said on Tuesday. Speaking in an interview with Russian news agency TASS, Dmitry Marashenko explained that the current spike in oil prices would be mitigated if there is no further escalation around Ukraine. However, a further ramping up of tensions could be a disaster. Marashenko is the senior director of the Natural Resources Group at the American rating agency. The geopolitical surplus, so the price of oil right now is about $15 per barrel, Marashenko explained. If everything goes according to the calmest scenario, which implies no further escalation, minimal sanctions that do not affect the oil and gas sector, and the freezing of the conflict, this geopolitical surplus will come to naught. In a more pessimistic scenario where the escalation around Ukraine intensifies even further and Western nations impose severe sanctions on the Russian energy sector, Marashenko suggested that the price of oil could exceed $100 per barrel. According to the expert, this will result in an energy crisis. The analyst from Fitch explained the worst-case scenario forecast by explaining that no other nation can replace Moscow's exportation of natural resources. So, and that's obviously over there. So, I'll tell you what, if this really goes down, this is going to be a massive disaster for a lot of people. This is going to have worldwide effects. So we'll see. It certainly seems like things are escalating and heading that direction. Let me have a couple of vapes. If YouTube put me on vacation from my normal channel, I'm going to act like it. Oh, no, I don't really care. I mean, it sucks that I get out to less people now during this 7-day period, but other than that, I really don't care. Karen at YouTube can bite me. Okay. Biden orders troops to countries bordering Russia. Another significant move. President Joe Biden has announced plans to shift some of the U.S. military's European forces into Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, reinforcing NATO's northeastern flank after Russia formally recognized the sovereignty of the breakaway of Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics. Biden announced the military maneuvering on Tuesday as he gave a scathing speech accusing Russia of trying to absorb its neighbor's territory and announced new sanctions. The Pentagon reportedly said 800 soldiers will be moved into the Baltic region from Italy, while 8 F-35 jets will be shifted into Eastern Europe from Germany. In addition, 32 Apache helicopters will be moved to Poland from Germany and Greece. That is a pretty significant movement. The moves come a day after President Vladimir Putin announced Russia's recognition of Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics as sovereign nations and suggested troops could be sent on peacekeeping mission in the breakaway territories. So, you know all of that already. I try not to read into where it recaps everything all over again. Putin comment, and it's usually about the first 2 to 3 paragraphs. Putin comments on how far Russian troops could go amid Ukraine crisis. The extent of the Russian military's actions in the breakaway eastern Ukrainian republics of Donetsk and Lugansk hinges on the developing situation on the ground, President Vladimir Putin told reporters on Tuesday after the country's Senate granted him the right to deploy troops abroad. Speaking to the media minutes after the upper chamber of the Russian parliament backed his request for military deployments, Putin received a question from a journalist on just how far Moscow's troops are prepared to go. In his response, Putin stopped short of confirming whether any Russian forces have already been ordered to the Donbass, despite Western claims that they already are in the region. The Senate Speaker Valentina Matvinko earlier suggested that the troops could take on the role of peacekeepers there. I'm not saying that the troops will be deployed there right after our meeting, the president said. Russia's Federation Council granted Putin the right to use the country's military abroad earlier on Tuesday, with Matvinko backing the unanimous vote with the suggestion the troops would create normal conditions for people's lives and ensure security in the Donbass. So, the U.S. canceled talks with Russia. This here, hang on, let me have a couple more sips and a couple vapes. I only got 2 more tabs open and then do headlines and get the heck out of here. Like I say, make it an easy night since, hell with you two. And I'm sure it wasn't really the fact that it was Steve Bannon that I uploaded a video about. I am sure that that is the excuse that they were able to use, but it was because it was about the convoy. So anyway, whatever. I think you're going to see a lot of craziness, actually, over the next 7 days as well. So, I'll be here. That's all I can do, be here. I can go to, Rumble, put up videos or whatever, but either way, my voice is really limited because I don't have a large reach even on the main channel. So, is what it is. But I imagine we could see some craziness in many different ways, not only in military conflict terms, but also in terms of with this convoy and civil disobedience, if you will. So, and the crackdown from that. So we'll see. There are some convoys apparently planning on being in Washington, D.C., and I don't know what their plans are. If they're planning on going into D.C. or what, I have no idea. But there are some that plan to be there on the 1st, and I don't think that's the plan of the convoy that I'd been following. But I think they're trying to stay clear of that time period because of the State of the Union and whatnot. I think they're trying to stay clear of that so that they're not like an impending threat, if you will. However, that's just, again, one convoy, and there's multiple. Okay. The U.S. has called off the meeting between Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov planned for Thursday in Geneva, citing that what it said was, the Russian invasion of Ukraine through recognition of two rebel regions. Now that we see the invasion is beginning and Russia has made clear its wholesale rejection of diplomacy, it does not make sense to go forward with the meeting at this time, Blinken said on Tuesday in a joint press conference with his Ukrainian counterpart Dmitry Kuleba at Foggy Bottom. Russia has proposed the Lavrov-Blinken meeting last Wednesday, and the U.S. accepted it on Friday, at which point the time and date were set. However, the State Department conditioned their acceptance on Moscow not invading Ukraine, something the U.S. now says has happened. So, they canceled their little conversation, their play date. And Trudeau, not to be outdone with his, emergency powers and little winky and big ambition, is sending troops to the Russian border. Canada is boosting its military presence at Russia's border and sanctioning Russian sovereign debt, parliamentarians, and companies, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced on Tuesday, citing what he said was an invasion of Ukraine. Up to 460 members of the Canadian Armed Forces will head to the Baltic country of Latvia, which shares a border with Russia, to join the 540 Canadian troops already stationed there. A frigate of the Royal Canadian Navy is also headed to the area, accompanied by one or more CP-140 Aurora spy planes, Ottawa has announced. I mean, they're done spying on their own people, at least for the moment. Trudeau's government has banned Canadians from buying Russian sovereign debt and having any financial dealings with Donetsk or Lugansk, while Ottawa seems as part of Ukraine. Canada has also blacklisted Russian parliamentarians who voted in favor of recognizing the two Donbass republics as independent, as well as Russian banks, military contractors, and companies. Canada and our allies will defend democracy. We are taking these actions today to stand against authoritarianism, Trudeau said. Yeah, okay. The people of Ukraine, like all people, must be free to determine their own future. Wait, Trudeau said that? The people of Ukraine, like all people, except for Canadian people? Do you mean I think he means except for Canadian people. The people of Ukraine, like all people except Canadian people, must be free to determine their own future. I fixed that for him. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. We have another sip of coffee on that. Oh, man. See, we made it up to 2 likes. Woohoo! Thank you. Feel like a rock star now. But don't worry, I'm not going to try to sing. Kind of suck at singing. Alright. I reckon we can do some headlines. And I'll do my best not to repeat headlines that I've already covered, but, yeah. Zelensky addresses nation after Russia's Donbass move. U.S. reveals stance on nukes for Ukraine. Canadian MPs side with Trudeau. China reacts to Russian recognition of Donbass republics. Budapest memorandums not legally binding, says Germany. U.S. makes Russian kill list claim. U.S. promises reaction if Russia maintains constant tension. Donbass republics ratify treaties with Russia. I actually didn't read that one. I read the one when they did it. Ruble rumbles, Russia market tumbles as Moscow recognizes Donbass. Humans getting too emotionally attached to robot co-workers, says a study. Okay, then. Kyle Rittenhouse crowdfunds lawsuits against media. China rebukes U.S. over containment strategy. Oil pushes towards $100 as Donbass tensions rise. Pardon me. Hamsters' testicles shrink with COVID-19, says a study. Well, then don't give the poor guys COVID-19. Stop shrinking their testicles. It's not nice. Ukrainian president reveals chances of war with Russia. A Russian parliament ratifies Donbass agreements. Actually, I did read. That's the one I did read. Switzerland could be blacklisted as money laundering state. Fish might be self-aware, says a study, and I'm sure that you were very, very curious about that. And the next study is going to be how different fish identify. Let's see. Iran explains why it returned massive stash of COVID-19 jabs. Germany makes decision on Nord Stream 2. Ukraine could sever ties with Russia, says Zelensky. Marvel star pushes for talks with COVID protesters. Kind of late now, but at least for the time being. Because she's talking about Canada, by the way. Global stocks sink on fears of full-blown conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Russia will defend Donetsk and Lugansk, says Moscow. Oh, I did cover that one, sorry. OnlyFans accused of using a terrorism database to blacklist rivals. Russian troops on Ukrainian soil now, says EU's top diplomat. Russia discloses plans for Donbass military bases. Musk accuses market regulator of spiteful retaliation. U.S. imposes sanctions on Donbass republics. Russian MPs disagree on borders of newly recognized republics. Russia asks U.S. to explain terrorist threat claim. Le Pen suspends presidential bid. There was a lot of news today, even beyond what I covered. Let's see. UK sanctions Putin's inner circle over Donbass. EU may ban mining and trade with Donbass, says the media. Kremlin reveals how borders of Donbass republics will be defined. A man maimed by Amazon truck sues. World's first scan of dying brain reveals final moments. Sony unveils VR set that makes you almost forget you're using it. Every resident in a city of millions ordered to get COVID tests. This is in Hong Kong. A Donbass recognition, one of the darkest days in Europe's history, says the EU. EU will soon pay double for gas, said Medvedev, and I know I said the name wrong. Latin American country makes landmark abortion ruling. EU to sanction every Russian MP who voted for Donbass deal, says media. I didn't read a lot of the sanction headlines because there were so many of them. Metal clouds found on hot Jupiter. Monarch cancels virtual appointments after COVID diagnosis. I did say that one. Putin comments on borders of Donbass republics. Supreme Court rules on Trump appeal and January 6th investigation. Ahmaud Arbery's killers convicted of hate crimes. Gunman takes hostages at Apple store in Amsterdam, says reports. EU to hit Russia with sanctions that will hurt a lot, says Burrell. Russia will not stop at the Donbass, says the U.S. Recognizing Donbass republics is the only way to end the crisis, says Russia. Trump's new social media app tops Apple rankings on first day. Yeah, but the only way that you can sign up right now is if you have Apple. So apparently that's the only way right now. Russia to evacuate its diplomats from Ukraine. Now meat eaters stand accused of sexism and racism. Okay. 4-year-old told to fire a gun at officers, says police. Biden announces the first, I guess that's tranche, I don't know, of new Russia sanctions. U.S. authority rules AI copyright art, or can't copyright art, sorry. U.S. tells Zelensky to leave Kiev, says the media. I covered that. Senators' GOP agenda includes naming border wall after Trump. Let's see, covered that one. Covered that one. And that one. Zelensky unveils response to Donbass recognition. Let's see, covered that one. Trump calls Putin savvy for Donbass strategy. White House comments on possibility of Biden-Putin summit. And that is, that's it. Wow. Actually, a pretty quick show. I am fine with that. Oh, wow. I actually see 3 likes. Wow, thank you. And 5 people in here. So like 5 people have found us. Welcome to the backup channel. We're here because we're naughty. And we will be here for the remainder of the next 6 days after today, while we wait out our suspension for being the baddies. Anyway, and then we'll return back to the normal channel after that. So it is what it is. Not a big deal. But anyway, I am glad that people are finding us over here, and hopefully more people find us hiding out over here. And I don't know what's going to happen over the course of the next 6 days. And like I say, it's impeccable timing from YouTube. Especially with the trucker convoy and all of that going on, especially with the trucker convoy going on. Awful convenient timing, but I think there's going to be plenty of time to get the regular channel involved in the convoy stuff, and until then, we have over here. So anyway, I am going to get out of here, and God willing, we'll be back tomorrow night. God willing, and the YouTube Queen willing, we'll be back tomorrow night. And I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.